Have you ever wondered what it would be like to spend 100 years exploring the ocean? To navigate thousands of miles using invisible maps written in magnetic fields and ancient instinct? There is a creature among us that has mastered this art, a living relic from the age of dinosaurs that glides through our oceans with quiet grace and profound purpose. For the next hour, you and I will follow one life, one journey that spans decades and oceans, a story of determination, mystery, and the gentle persistence of life itself. This is the story of the sea turtle, and it begins on a beach under the stars. Beneath the warm sand of a tropical beach, something miraculous is happening. For nearly 2 months, a clutch of eggs has been incubating in the darkness, warmed by the sun from above and the earth from below. Inside each shell, a tiny turtle has been developing, growing stronger, preparing for a journey that will test every instinct it possesses. Now, as the moon rises and the beach cools in the evening air, something triggers the moment. Perhaps it is the change in temperature, or the subtle vibrations in the sand, or some ancient signal we do not yet understand. One by one, the shells begin to crack. The hatchlings do not emerge alone. They work together in what scientists call a cooperative emergence, their tiny flippers churning the sand, creating a collective effort that brings them all closer to the surface. This is their first act of unity, their first shared purpose in a life that will be largely solitary. After hours of digging, the first hatchling breaks through into the night air. It is no larger than the palm of your hand, perfectly formed, with eyes that glisten with moonlight and a shell still soft from the egg. Within moments, dozens more appear, spilling out of the sand like a living tide, each one driven by a singular imperative to reach the ocean. Look at them carefully. These tiny beings weighing barely more than a breath. Each one carries within it a genetic memory spanning millions of years, instructions written in DNA that have guided countless generations before them. They do not know fear yet. They do not know the dangers that await them. They know only one thing with absolute certainty, that the ocean lies ahead and they must reach it. The moonlight reflects off the breaking waves, creating a path of silver that leads them forward. This light is their compass, their first guide in a life that will be defined by incredible feats of navigation across waters so vast they dwarf entire continents. The journey from nest to ocean is only about 50 meters, but for a creature this small, it might as well be 50 miles. The sand is uneven, littered with debris, formed into ridges by wind and water. Each step is a struggle. Each push forward requires immense effort from muscles that have never been used before. Some hatchlings stumble, flip onto their backs, and must right themselves. Others are faster, more coordinated, as if they had been practicing in their dreams. You can see the determination in their movements, the way their flippers dig and push, creating tiny tracks in the sand that the morning tide will erase. They are already survivors, and their journey has only just begun. Not all of them will make it. This is the harsh truth of nature, the balance that has sustained life on Earth for billions of years. Ghost crabs emerge from their burrows, drawn by the movement. Nightbirds circle overhead, their keen eyes spotting easy prey. The hatchlings that hesitate, that move too slowly or in the wrong direction, face dangers they cannot comprehend. But the majority press on, driven by instinct stronger than fear. They reach the first touch of water, the cool foam washing over their tiny bodies, and something within them ignites. This is what they were made for. This is home, even though they have never known it before. The first wave lifts them gently, then pulls them into the vastness beyond. In the shallow surf, they learn to swim. Their flippers, which struggled against sand, now move with fluid grace, pulling them forward through the water with surprising speed. They can feel the undertow, the pull of the ocean calling them deeper, and they do not resist. Wave after wave washes over them, tumbling them, disorienting them, but they keep swimming. They must reach the deep water before dawn, before the sun rises and exposes them to even more predators. So they swim with a fury that seems impossible for creatures so small. They swim toward a future that only a tiny fraction of them will ever reach. They swim toward a life of wonder that you and I are only beginning to imagine. By morning, the survivors have reached deeper water, beyond the breaking waves, beyond the immediate dangers of the shore. Behind them, the beach is quiet again, the tracks already fading in the wind. The ocean stretches in all directions, infinite and mysterious. These hatchlings, no bigger than your palm, now face a challenge that seems impossible. They must survive in this vast wilderness, finding food, avoiding predators, and somehow, against all odds, grow strong enough to one day return. What we call the lost years is about to begin. Are you ready to follow them into the unknown? Let us dive deeper together. For decades, scientists could only wonder what happened to sea turtles after they left the beach. They would disappear into the ocean as hatchlings and reappear years later as juveniles, larger and stronger. But where they went and how they survived remained one of the ocean's greatest mysteries. These became known as the lost years, a period of life shrouded in secrecy and speculation. Now, thanks to modern tracking technology and dedicated research, we are beginning to understand this hidden chapter. Our young turtle, just days old, is entering a world that operates by rules very different from the one on land. Here, there is no up or down in the traditional sense, only the endless blue and the pull of currents that flow like rivers through the sea. The hatchling has an instinct that guides it during these first days. It swims frantically, almost without rest, a behavior called the swimming frenzy. This is not random. By swimming constantly, it puts distance between itself and the coastal areas where predators are most concentrated. It also helps the turtle reach the ocean currents, the great highways of the sea that will carry it far from shore. Within a week, exhausted but determined, our small traveler finds what it was looking for. A vast stream of water moving through the ocean, warmer than the surrounding sea, rich with floating life. This is a current system, and it will become home for the next several years. Many sea turtles find refuge in floating mats of sargassum, a type of seaweed that drifts on the surface of warm ocean currents. These golden brown islands of vegetation provide everything a young turtle needs. Food, in the form of tiny shrimp, crabs, and fish that hide among the fronds. Shelter from the largest predators. And a place to rest, floating on the surface, breathing the air while remaining hidden from above. Our turtle navigates into a particularly dense patch of sargassum, its color blending perfectly with the weed. Here, it is nearly invisible. From a bird's eye view, it is just another bump in the endless carpet of vegetation. This camouflage is everything. It means the difference between life and death. Life in the sargassum is busy and vibrant. Countless creatures make their homes here, from nearly microscopic organisms to fish as long as your arm. The turtle learns to hunt, snapping at small swimming crabs and jellyfish that drift past. Each meal is a victory, a small addition to its growing strength. It also learns about danger. Larger fish patrol the edges of the sargassum, and when one ventures too close, the turtle must freeze, becoming as still as the weed itself. Predators hunt by movement, and so stillness becomes a form of invisibility. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. The turtle grows slowly but steadily, its shell hardening, its muscles strengthening, its understanding of the ocean deepening with every sunrise. Time moves differently in the ocean. There are no seasons in the way we experience them on land, only subtle shifts in temperature and current. The turtle drifts with its floating home, sometimes moving hundreds of miles in a matter of weeks, carried by forces far beyond its control. But it is not entirely passive. Even at this young age, it has preferences, instincts that guide its choices. When the current splits, the turtle seems to know which path to follow. When storms approach and the surface becomes violent, it dives deeper, finding calmer water below. These are not conscious decisions in the way you or I make choices, but they are no less remarkable. They are the product of millions of years of evolution, wisdom encoded in every cell. Years pass in this nomadic existence. The turtle that once weighed less than an ounce now weighs several pounds. Its shell has grown from the size of a coin to the size of a dinner plate. It has survived predators, storms, and the simple challenge of finding enough food each day in an environment that can be both generous and harsh. But something is changing. As the turtle grows, it begins to feel a pull toward different waters, shallower waters where food is more abundant, but dangers are greater. This is the transition from the lost years to the next phase of life. Soon, it will leave the open ocean and seek the coastal areas it once fled. The wanderer is becoming something new, and we will follow it into these richer, more dangerous waters. The journey inward begins. The turtle, now a juvenile, follows instincts that are impossible to fully explain. It leaves the open ocean and swims toward coastlines it has never seen, toward feeding grounds that previous generations of its family have used for thousands of years. How does it know where to go? Scientists believe it uses multiple cues, including the Earth's magnetic field, the angle of the sun, the taste of the water, and perhaps even memories that are not its own, but are inherited through genetics. Whatever the mechanism, it works. The turtle swims with purpose now, covering miles each day, moving from the blue emptiness of the open ocean toward the green richness of the coast. A new chapter is beginning, one filled with abundance and new challenges. Imagine a meadow beneath the sea, where grass sways in currents instead of wind, where fish take the place of birds, and where ancient creatures graze peacefully in filtered sunlight. This is a seagrass bed, one of the most productive ecosystems on Earth, and it will be home to our turtle for many years to come. These underwater prairies stretch for miles in shallow coastal waters, their long green blades creating a forest in miniature. For a sea turtle, this is paradise. Here, food is abundant. The turtle feeds on the seagrass itself, cropping the blades with the sharp edges of its beak. It also eats the small invertebrates that live among the grass and the algae that grows on coral heads nearby. The turtle establishes a routine, a daily rhythm that connects it to this place. Each morning, as the sun rises and warms the shallow water, the turtle wakes from its resting spot beneath a coral ledge. It swims to its favorite feeding area, a patch of seagrass it returns to day after day. By grazing consistently in the same area, the turtle actually helps the seagrass stay healthy, keeping the older blades trimmed and encouraging new growth. This is a relationship between grazer and meadow that mirrors the relationship between buffalo and prairie, or elephants and savanna. The turtle is not just living in this ecosystem, It is actively shaping it, playing a role that has been refined over millions of years. It is both guest and gardener in this underwater world. Time passes more peacefully here than it did in the open ocean. The turtle grows steadily, adding layers to its shell year by year like rings in a tree. Other turtles share these feeding grounds, and though they are generally solitary creatures, they tolerate each other's presence with calm indifference. Sometimes, when resting spots are limited, multiple turtles will rest near each other, their shells touching, sharing warmth and perhaps some wordless companionship. These are ancient beings in the most literal sense. The first sea turtles appeared more than 100 million years ago, swimming in oceans where dinosaurs drank from the shores. They have survived ice ages and asteroid impacts, mass extinctions that wiped out countless other species. And yet they persist, largely unchanged, a testament to a design so successful that evolution found little to improve. The turtle shares these waters with countless other species. Dolphins pass through on hunting expeditions, their echolocation clicks and whistles filling the water with sound. Rays glide over the seagrass, their wings rippling like silk. Sharks patrol the deeper edges of the reef, reminders that even in paradise, vigilance is necessary. But the turtle has size on its side now. At over 2 feet in length and weighing more than 50 pounds, it is no longer easy prey. Most predators ignore it, focusing instead on smaller, more vulnerable targets. The turtle moves through its world with a confidence born of survival, each day a gift, each moment a small victory against odds that once seemed impossible. Seasons bring changes even in these tropical waters. During certain times of the year, the water cools slightly and currents shift. The turtle notices these changes, responding with subtle adjustments to its behavior. It may move to slightly deeper water when temperatures drop, or spend more time basking near the surface when the sun is warm. These responses are automatic, driven by the same instincts that have guided its species for eons. Watch how the turtle moves through the water now compared to when it first arrived here as a juvenile. Every motion is efficient and graceful. The flippers that once flapped frantically now stroke with measured power. The neck extends and retracts with perfect timing. This is mastery born of practice, the body and ocean moving together as one. Tears accumulate quietly. The turtle that arrived as a juvenile weighing a few pounds is now a young adult weighing over 100 pounds. Its shell has darkened to a beautiful mottled brown and amber, each scoot telling a story of growth and survival. Barnacles have attached themselves to the shell, tiny passengers that filter feed as the turtle swims. Small fish called remoras sometimes hitch rides, using suction cups on their heads to cling to the turtle's underside, waiting for scraps of food. The turtle tolerates these companions with endless patience. In some ways, it has become a moving ecosystem itself, a home for other creatures. But something new is stirring within it, a feeling that has been growing stronger with each passing year. It is the call to reproduce, to complete the cycle that began on a beach so many years ago. The change happens gradually. The turtle begins to eat less, spending more time swimming than feeding. There is a restlessness to its movements, a sense of purpose building towards something significant. Inside its body, changes are taking place. Hormones are shifting, triggering instincts that have lain dormant since hatching. The turtle is entering sexual maturity, and with it comes one of the most remarkable behaviors in the natural world. Soon, it will leave these coastal waters and begin a journey that defies comprehension. It will swim across thousands of miles of open ocean to return to the very beach where it was born, to continue a cycle that has repeated for countless generations. How is such a thing possible? Let us follow and find out together. What you are about to witness is one of nature's most profound mysteries. Our turtle, now fully mature, is preparing to swim across an ocean to find a beach it left decades ago as a hatchling. It has never made this journey before. It has no maps, no guides, no way to ask for directions. The beach it seeks may be 1,000 miles away or more, separated by endless expanses of identical-looking water. And yet, sea turtles regularly accomplish this feat with astonishing accuracy, sometimes returning to the exact stretch of beach where they hatched. Yo, how do they do it? Scientists have been studying this question for decades, and while we have learned much, the full answer remains beautifully elusive. What we do know is that sea turtles are among nature's greatest navigators, using tools and senses that seem almost magical. The journey begins with commitment. The turtle leaves its feeding grounds and swims into the open ocean, the blue emptiness it knew as a juvenile. But it is different now, stronger and more experienced, carrying within it the accumulated wisdom of survival. The first tool in its navigational arsenal is the Earth's magnetic field. Our planet is essentially a giant magnet with invisible field lines that curve from pole to pole. Sea turtles can sense these fields, detecting both the angle of the field lines and their intensity. This gives them a type of magnetic map, allowing them to determine both latitude and longitude. It is like having a GPS system built into their very cells, a gift from evolution that guides them through the featureless ocean. But magnetic fields are only part of the story. The turtle also uses the position of the sun during the day and potentially the stars at night to orient itself. Like sailors of old, it can navigate by celestial bodies, adjusting its course based on the angle of light. When it surfaces to breathe, it spends a moment with its head above water, taking in information about the world above. The smell and taste of the water also provide clues. Different parts of the ocean have unique chemical signatures, traces of minerals and organic compounds that create an olfactory map. The turtle swims, samples the water, and adjusts its heading. It is reading the ocean in ways we are only beginning to understand, interpreting a language written in magnetism, light, and dissolved molecules. The journey is long and demanding. The turtle swims for days, then weeks, pausing only briefly to rest. It eats little during this migration, living off the fat reserves it built up during years of feeding. The ocean changes around it. It passes through warm currents and cold upwellings. It swims over seamounts hidden thousands of feet below. It crosses shipping lanes where massive vessels pass overhead, their propellers churning the water. Through it all, the turtle maintains its course with unwavering determination. This is not mindless instinct alone. Research has shown that experienced turtles navigate more successfully than first-time migrants, suggesting they learn and refine their abilities. Each journey teaches them, adding to their understanding of the ocean's vast geography. After weeks at sea, something changes. The turtle's pace quickens. The water here tastes familiar, triggering memories that exist somewhere between instinct and experience. The ocean floor rises beneath it as it approaches the continental shelf. The water becomes slightly greener, filled with more suspended particles and life. And then, on the horizon, a thin, dark line appears. Land. The turtle has navigated across hundreds or thousands of miles of open ocean and found the coastline it was seeking. But the journey is not over. The beach where it hatched is still miles away, hidden among dozens of similar beaches. The turtle turns and swims parallel to the shore, now using even finer clues to narrow its search. The slope of the beach, the composition of the sand, the pattern of waves breaking, all of these factors create a unique signature that the turtle can recognize. As night falls, the turtle continues its search. And then, something clicks. This is the place. After decades away, the turtle has returned to the beach of its birth. The magnetic signature of the sand matches the imprint encoded in its cells when it hatched. The taste of the coastal water is exactly right. Perhaps there are other clues we do not yet understand, signals that speak directly to something deep in the turtle's brain. Whatever the mechanism, the result is undeniable. The turtle waits in the shallow water just beyond the breaking waves. It has come home. But the night is not yet right. The beach is not yet ready. So the turtle waits with the patience that defines its kind, resting in the gentle surge, preparing for what comes next. What drives a creature to undertake such a journey? Why return to one specific beach when there are thousands of beaches where eggs could be laid? Scientists believe it is because the turtles are returning to a place that has proven successful. If the beach was good enough for their mother and for them to survive, it is likely still a good place. This behavior, called natal homing, ensures that successful nesting sites are used generation after generation, creating a tradition that spans ages. It also maintains genetic diversity, with different beaches hosting turtles with slightly different adaptations. The turtle floats in the moonlight, a living link between past and future, between its own hatching decades ago and the hatchlings that will soon emerge if its mission succeeds. Let us follow it onto the shore for this sacred act. The moon is high and the beach is quiet. This is the moment the turtle has been waiting for. With powerful strokes of its flippers, it propels itself through the shallow water and onto the sand. Watch how its body changes as it transitions from water to land. In the ocean, it was graceful and effortless. Here on the beach, it is awkward and laborious. The flippers that are so perfect for swimming are poorly suited for walking. The massive body that was weightless in water now presses down with full force against the earth. Yet the turtle presses on, pulling itself forward with determination, leaving a wide track in the sand. This is vulnerability on display. On land, the turtle is slow and defenseless. But this brief return to shore is necessary for the survival of the species. The turtle moves above the high tide line, searching for the perfect spot. It needs sand that is moist enough to hold a shape, but not so wet that the nest will flood. It needs a location that is high enough to avoid storm surges, but not so exposed that the nest will overheat during the day. With instincts honed over countless generations, it finds the right place and begins to dig. First, it excavates a large body pit using all 4 flippers, throwing sand in every direction. The turtle almost disappears into the depression it creates. Then, once the body pit is complete, it begins the delicate work of digging the actual egg chamber using only its rear flippers. This is precision work. The chamber must be flask-shaped, narrow at the top and wider at the bottom to hold the eggs securely. The chamber complete, the turtle enters a trance-like state. Its body stills except for slight contractions. And then the eggs begin to come. One by one, soft white spheres the size of ping-pong balls drop into the chamber. The turtle lays them carefully, over 100 eggs in total, each one a potential future member of the species. This is the culmination of years of growth and a journey of thousands of miles. Each egg contains a tiny embryo, the next generation waiting to develop. The turtle covers each layer of eggs with a secretion that helps maintain moisture. The laying continues for nearly an hour, a quiet act performed under stars that have watched this same ritual repeat for millions of years. When the last egg is laid, the turtle pauses, resting from the enormous effort. Now comes the work of concealment. The turtle begins to fill in the egg chamber, using its rear flippers to carefully cover the eggs with sand. It packs the sand down gently, creating a plug that seals the chamber. Then, it fills in the body pit, using all 4 flippers to throw sand in every direction, smoothing over any sign of the nest. This is crucial. Predators actively hunt for sea turtle nests, digging up the eggs to feed on the rich yolks. The better hidden the nest, the greater the chance the eggs will survive. The turtle works methodically, erasing evidence of its presence. It moves around the area, creating false trails and disturbances to confuse any would-be nest raiders. Finally, satisfied with its work, the turtle turns back toward the ocean. The journey back to the water is faster than the journey up. The turtle uses gravity to help pull itself down the sloping beach. When it reaches the water, you can almost sense its relief. The cool ocean embraces it, and suddenly it is graceful again, powerful again. It swims out beyond the breaking waves and pauses, floating at the surface. Behind it, buried in the sand, are the eggs that represent its genetic contribution to the future. The turtle will never see these eggs hatch. It will never meet its offspring. There is no parental care in sea turtles beyond the careful selection of the nesting site and the protection of burial. Once the eggs are laid and covered, the turtle's role is complete. It has done what millions of years of evolution programmed it to do. This may not be the turtle's only nesting of the season. Female sea turtles typically lay multiple clutches of eggs, spacing them out over several weeks. Each time, they repeat this exhausting journey from ocean to beach and back. Some will nest 3 or 4 times in a single season. Between nesting events, they rest in the ocean, recovering their strength, feeding in nearby waters rich with jellyfish and other prey. Males, meanwhile, wait offshore, never returning to land after their own hatching. They mate with females in the water, then disperse. The entire breeding season is a concentrated period of intense activity after years of steady, patient living. When it ends, the turtles will return to their distant feeding grounds, and the beaches will be quiet again until the next season. Our turtle makes one final dive, swimming down to the reef where it has been resting between nesting attempts. It settles onto the sandy bottom beside a coral head, exhaling a stream of bubbles, and closes its eyes. The eggs in the beach above are already developing, warmed by the sun and protected by the sand. In about 2 months, if all goes well, they will hatch and the cycle will begin again. New hatchlings will emerge and race toward the water, just as our turtle did all those years ago. Most will not. But those that do will carry forward the ancient lineage, adding another chapter to a story that stretches back to the age of dinosaurs. The turtle rests, its duty fulfilled, its place in the grand cycle secure. Let us pause in our journey and reflect on what we have witnessed. The sea turtle before us is more than just an individual. It is a living representative of a lineage that has survived for more than 100 million years. To put that in perspective, sea turtles were already ancient when the first flowering plants evolved. They swam in oceans where dinosaurs drank from the shores. They survived the asteroid impact that ended the Cretaceous period, the event that wiped out most large animals on Earth. They endured ice ages and warm periods, mass extinctions, and global upheavals. Through all of this, the basic body plan of the sea turtle remained largely unchanged, a testament to a design so perfectly suited to its environment that evolution found little reason to alter it. What is it about sea turtles that has allowed them to persist for so long? Part of the answer lies in their adaptability. Though individual species have specific habitat preferences, sea turtles as a group can be found in every ocean except the Arctic. They thrive in warm, tropical waters and can tolerate cooler, temperate seas. They eat everything from jellyfish to seagrass, from crabs to sponges, allowing different species to occupy different ecological niches. They can dive to depths of over 3,000 feet and hold their breath for hours. Their shells protect them from most predators once they reach adulthood. And perhaps most importantly, they reproduce prolifically, with each female laying hundreds of eggs over her lifetime, ensuring that even with high mortality rates, enough survive to continue the species. But survival across deep time requires more than just physical adaptations. It requires resilience in the face of change. Sea turtles have witnessed the continents drift across the globe, watched mountain ranges rise and erode, seen sea levels rise and fall by hundreds of feet. Each time the world changed, sea turtles adapted their ranges, their breeding sites, their feeding strategies. This adaptability is encoded in their genetics, but also in their behavior. Sea turtles can learn, remember, and adjust their actions based on experience. They are far more intelligent than most people realize, capable of solving problems and recognizing individuals. This combination of instinct and learning has served them well, allowing each generation to adapt to the specific conditions they encounter. Individual sea turtles can live for 50 years or more, with some species possibly reaching 100 years of age in the wild. This longevity means that the turtle you see here may have been hatching around the time your grandparents were born. It has witnessed decades of change in the ocean, seen the moon wax and wane thousands of times, felt the water warm and cool with the seasons for half a century. Think about the storms it has weathered, the predators it has evaded, the miles it has swum. The barnacles on its shell are not just passengers, they are a record of years spent in the ocean, each one a small testament to time past. When you look at an old sea turtle, you are looking at a living archive of ocean history. But here is where our story takes a sobering turn. For all their resilience, for all their ability to survive mass extinctions and global changes, sea turtles are struggling in the modern world. Every species of sea turtle is now listed as either threatened or endangered. In just the last 100 years, human activities have pushed these ancient mariners to the brink. Coastal development has destroyed nesting beaches. Artificial lights confuse hatchlings, leading them away from the ocean toward roads and buildings where they perish. Fishing gear entangles and drowns turtles. Plastic pollution fills their stomachs, making them feel full while they starve. Climate change is warming the sand, skewing sex ratios in hatchlings toward all female. The threats are many, and they are mounting. And no, yet there is hope. Around the world, people are working to protect sea turtles. Nesting beaches are being preserved and monitored. Laws now require turtle-excluded devices on fishing nets, allowing turtles to escape. Volunteer groups patrol beaches during nesting season, protecting nests from predators and poachers. Rehabilitation centers rescue injured turtles, nursing them back to health before release. Education programs teach new generations about the importance of these ancient creatures. And it is working. In some areas, turtle populations that were in steep decline are now stable or even increasing. When we choose to act with compassion and foresight, we can make a difference. The survival of sea turtles is not inevitable, but it is possible. Their fate, to a large extent, is now in our hands. Our turtle knows nothing of these larger concerns. It does not understand threats or conservation, politics or ecology. It simply lives, doing what countless generations before it have done. It swims, it eats, it rests, it breathes. When the time comes, it will migrate and nest again. It is a thread in a tapestry that extends backward through unimaginable time and hopefully forward into a future we cannot see. When you witness a sea turtle, you are seeing something profoundly rare in the modern world. You are seeing a creature that is fundamentally unchanged from its ancestors who lived in the Cretaceous seas. You are seeing a survivor, a success story written in flesh and shell and instinct. And you are being given a choice about what story will be told next. Let us return now to the present moment and observe the simple, daily life of our turtle. There is something deeply calming about watching a sea turtle go about its routine. Each action is deliberate and unhurried. There is no sense of panic, no frantic energy. The turtle embodies a kind of living meditation, fully present in each moment. Watch as it surfaces to breathe. The head breaks the water smoothly, the breath is taken, and then it sinks back below with barely a ripple. This is efficiency perfected. Yao. Nothing is wasted. Every movement has purpose, but also grace. As humans living in a world of constant stimulation and hurry, there is much we can learn from this ancient rhythm. Perhaps this is why we find watching sea turtles so soothing. They remind us that it is possible to move through life with calm intention. The turtle's day follows a natural rhythm shaped by the sun and tide. As morning light filters through the water, the turtle wakes from its resting place. It may spend the first hour simply floating near the surface, slowly warming its body in the morning sun. Being reptiles, sea turtles are ectothermic, meaning their body temperature is influenced by their environment. Warming up increases their metabolism and energy for the day ahead. Once sufficiently warm, the turtle begins to swim toward its feeding area. The journey may be short or it may take an hour, but it is never rushed. The turtle has learned efficiency over the years, knows where the currents will help it and where they will hinder. It adjusts its path accordingly, using the ocean's energy rather than fighting against it. Feeding time is a slow affair. The turtle grazes methodically, taking bite after bite of seagrass or algae. Between bites, it pauses, still and silent, as if contemplating the next move. Fish swim around it, sometimes picking bits of food that the turtle disturbs. Cleaner fish approach and nibble at the algae growing on the turtle's shell, providing a service the turtle seems to welcome. These cleaning sessions can last for many minutes, with the turtle holding perfectly still while the fish work. It is a relationship of mutual benefit, one of countless such partnerships that make the ocean ecosystem so rich and interconnected. Watch how the turtle extends its neck, allowing the cleaner fish access to areas it cannot reach itself. There is trust here and ancient understanding. After feeding, the turtle may explore its territory, swimming slowly along the reef or through the seagrass. These explorations serve multiple purposes. The turtle is memorizing its environment, noting changes, finding new food sources, checking familiar resting spots. The reef is not a static place. Fish come and go, corals grow and die, storms rearrange the landscape. By regularly patrolling its home range, the turtle stays updated on these changes. It may investigate an unusual object with its beak, tapping it gently to determine if it is food or not. When the object proves uninteresting, the turtle moves on without concern. There is no frustration, no disappointment. Each investigation is simply information gathered and processed. The turtle is constantly learning, constantly adapting, even after decades of experience. As afternoon arrives and the sun is highest, the turtle often seeks rest. It may wedge itself under a coral ledge or settle onto a sandy patch partially hidden by seagrass. Here, it will remain for hours, eyes closed or half open, breathing slowed to a minimum. A sea turtle at rest can hold its breath for several hours, slowing its heart rate to conserve oxygen. This is a type of meditation that humans can only approximate. The turtle is completely at peace, completely safe in its element. Small fish take shelter nearby, and the reef life continues around it. Sometimes, another turtle will rest close by, and they will share the space in companionable silence. They may be solitary creatures, but they are not unfriendly. They simply have no need for social complexity. Their lives are complete without it. Evening brings another feeding period as the turtle wakes from its rest and returns to the seagrass beds. The light has changed, becoming softer and more diffused. Shadows grow longer underwater. The turtle feeds again, replenishing energy used during the day. As darkness approaches, it makes one final tour of its territory before settling in for the night. The location chosen for nighttime rest is carefully selected. It must provide protection from predators and from strong currents that might sweep the sleeping turtle away. Under a familiar coral head or in a well-protected crevice, the turtle settles in. The ocean at night is a different world, full of creatures that hide during the day. But the turtle is safe in its chosen spot. It closes its eyes and enters the mysterious realm of reptile sleep. This routine repeats day after day, year after year. It may seem simple, even boring to our human minds accustomed to variety and stimulation. But there is profound wisdom in this simplicity. The turtle needs nothing more than what it has. It does not worry about the past or the future, does not desire to be anything other than what it is. It simply exists fully and completely in each present moment. This is not a life of drama or excitement, but it is a life of peace and contentment. When we watch a sea turtle going about its daily routine, we are watching a masterclass in being present. The turtle teaches us that happiness does not require complexity. Sometimes the most profound peace comes from the simplest rhythms. The ocean is not a lonely place, though it can seem vast and empty. Our turtle shares its realm with countless other creatures, each pursuing its own survival, each playing its role in the grand ecosystem. Some encounters are brief and inconsequential. A school of jacks passes by, their silver bodies flashing as they turn in unison, hunting for smaller prey. The turtle pays them no attention, and they ignore the turtle in return. Their worlds barely overlap. Other encounters are more significant. A sea snake, deadly venomous, but with a small mouth unsuited to biting large prey, swims past. The turtle watches it warily but does not flee. Both creatures understand the rules of their shared environment. Mutual respect keeps the peace. One of the most remarkable encounters is with manta rays, those gentle giants of the ocean. The turtle is resting when a shadow passes overhead, vast and moving. Looking up, it sees a manta ray gliding past, its wingspans stretching over 15 feet. The ray moves with liquid grace, its wing-like fins undulating in slow, powerful strokes. It is feeding on plankton, mouth open wide, filtering the water for microscopic life. The manta and the turtle regard each other briefly, two ancient lineages sharing a moment of recognition. Then the ray continues on its path, and the turtle returns to its rest. These encounters are gifts, reminders that even in the vastness of the ocean, we are never truly alone. We share this blue planet with wonders beyond counting. Dolphins occasionally pass through the turtle's territory, their presence announced by clicks and whistles that carry through the water. A pod of dolphins is hunting, working together to corral fish into tight bowls before taking turns feeding. The turtle watches from a distance, wise enough to stay out of their way. Dolphins are playful and curious, but when they are hunting, they are focused and powerful. One younger dolphin breaks from the group and approaches the turtle, circling it with apparent interest. It makes a series of clicks, possibly using echolocation to examine the turtle's internal structure. The turtle remains still, patient with this investigation. After a moment, the dolphin loses interest and rejoins its pod. They move on, their whistles fading into the distance. Not all encounters are with creatures of the ocean. Sometimes the turtle meets humans, those odd beings from the world above who enter the water with bubbles and strange equipment. The first time our turtle encountered a scuba diver, it may have been startled, seeing this unfamiliar shape. But over the years it has learned that these creatures, while strange, are generally harmless. Some divers maintain respectful distance, content to observe from afar. Others approach slowly with outstretched hands, hoping for a closer look. The turtle tolerates this with remarkable patience. It may swim away if the approach is too aggressive, but often it simply allows itself to be admired, knowing perhaps on some level that these encounters help humans appreciate the ocean and its inhabitants. We are connected after all, whether we realize it or not. One of the strangest encounters happens when the turtle swims through a bloom of jellyfish. These gelatinous creatures drift through the water in vast numbers, their translucent bells pulsing rhythmically, their tentacles trailing behind. For most ocean creatures, a jellyfish bloom is something to avoid. Those tentacles carry stinging cells that can paralyze prey. But the turtle is immune to most jellyfish stings protected by its tough skin and scales. In fact, jellyfish are a favorite food for many turtle species. Our turtle swims through the bloom with confidence, occasionally snapping at a particularly appetizing specimen. The jellyfish make no attempt to flee. They have no brains, no ability to learn or plan. They simply drift and sting, ancient organisms that have existed largely unchanged for over 500 million years. Perhaps the most moving encounters are with other sea turtles. These meetings are rare, as turtles are generally solitary outside of breeding season. But when two turtles do cross paths, there seems to be a moment of recognition, an acknowledgement of kinship. They may swim together for a while, moving in parallel before going their separate ways. During breeding season, of course, these encounters become more frequent and more purposeful. Males compete for the attention of females, swimming alongside them, sometimes blocking their path, attempting to gain mating rights. Females choose their partners carefully, mating with multiple males to ensure genetic diversity in their clutches. These interactions can appear rough to human eyes, but this is the ancient dance of reproduction, unchanged for eons. Even in encounters with potential threats, the turtle displays remarkable calm. A shark appears, a reef shark hunting along the bottom. The turtle does not panic. The turtle does not panic. It knows that to a shark, a healthy adult sea turtle is not ideal prey. The shell is too hard, the turtle too large and difficult to subdue. The shark passes by, showing only mild interest. The turtle watches it go, then returns to grazing as if nothing had happened. This is the confidence of a survivor, a creature that has lived long enough to understand what is truly dangerous and what is merely intimidating. In all these encounters, the turtle teaches us about coexistence. The ocean is a shared space, and every creature has its role, its place, its right to be. When we learn to respect these boundaries, we can all thrive together. Most of the time, our turtle stays in relatively shallow water, rarely diving deeper than 50 feet. But sea turtles are capable of much more. They can dive to depths that would be deadly to humans without special equipment, can hold their breath for hours, and can navigate through environments where light barely penetrates. Today, for reasons known only to itself, the turtle begins to dive. Perhaps it has sensed food in the deeper water, or perhaps it is simply exploring, driven by some ancient urge to know its realm more completely. Down it goes, flippers stroking in powerful, measured beats. The water around it changes. The bright turquoise of the shallows gives way to deeper blues, then to a blue so dark it is almost purple. The pressure increases with every meter of depth. At 100 feet, the light has changed dramatically. Fade away. Without sunlight to illuminate them, reds and oranges disappear, absorbed by the water above. Everything looks blue and gray down here. The reef below is different from the shallow reef. The corals are different species, adapted to lower light levels. Sponges and sea fans dominate instead of the branching corals of the shallows. Fish are less abundant, but often larger. A grouper, massive and ancient, watches from a cave entrance. The turtle continues down. Its body is perfectly adapted for this pressure. The air in its lungs is compressed, making the turtle less buoyant. It takes conscious effort now to descend, but the turtle seems determined to reach a particular depth. What is it seeking? At 200 feet, we have entered the twilight zone of the ocean, where light is scarce and the environment becomes truly alien. The turtle is near its maximum diving depth now. Few sea turtles venture this deep except when necessity demands it. The pressure at this depth is over 6 times what it is at the surface, enough to compress the turtle's body slightly. But its physiology handles this with ease. Its heart rate has slowed dramatically, conserving oxygen. Blood is being shunted away from less critical organs and directed to the brain and heart. The turtle is operating on minimal resources, extending its dive time far beyond what seems possible. And then it finds what it was looking for. Jellyfish, massive and ghostly pale, drifts in the deep. This is deep-sea prey, rarely seen in shallower water. The turtle takes a bite of the jellyfish, then another, eating methodically even at this depth. The jellyfish cannot escape, can barely respond to the attack. Within minutes, the turtle has consumed most of it. The nutrients will help fuel the journey back to the surface. Speaking of which, the turtle is reaching the limit of its oxygen supply. Time to ascend. But it does not rush. Rushing would use precious oxygen and could potentially cause problems with dissolved nitrogen in its blood. Instead, the turtle begins a slow, controlled ascent, rising through the water column like a dirigible. Its flippers barely move, working just enough to maintain a steady upward pace. As it rises, the water gradually becomes brighter and warmer. The familiar world returns degree by degree, fathom by fathom. At 50 feet, the turtle passes through a thermocline, a layer where the temperature changes rapidly. Below was cold water, just a few degrees above freezing. Above is warm tropical water, perhaps 20 degrees warmer. The turtle can feel the change, the warmth seeping into its muscles, revitalizing its energy. Color returns to the world. The reef below is bright again, alive with fish and corals of every hue. The turtle continues upward, unhurried but steady. Finally, its head breaks the surface. It takes a deep breath, the first in over 2 hours. The air is sweet and warm. The turtle breathes several times, purging carbon dioxide and refilling its lungs with fresh oxygen. It has completed a journey that few humans could survive, and it did so with calm efficiency. Deep dives like this are not common for most sea turtles, but they demonstrate the remarkable capabilities of these animals. They are not locked into shallow water life. They can, when needed, access resources throughout much of the ocean's depth. This flexibility, this ability to exploit multiple niches, is part of what has made sea turtles so successful for so long. Leatherback sea turtles, the largest of all sea turtle species, regularly dive to depths over 3,000 feet, chasing jellyfish into the dark, cold waters that few other air-breathing creatures can reach. They are among the deepest diving reptiles on Earth, true masters of both the surface and the abyss. Our turtle, now recovered from its deep excursion, returns to its routine. But we who witnessed the dive have seen something special, a glimpse into the full range of what is possible for these remarkable creatures. As the day fades into evening, the turtle has fully recovered. Its metabolism has processed the jellyfish, converting it into energy for swimming and maintenance. The deep dive is already becoming a memory, chemical traces in the brain that will influence future behavior. Perhaps next time the turtle sees certain conditions, certain water movements or light levels, it will remember that food can be found in the deep and will dive again. This is learning in its most basic form, experience shaping behavior, the past informing the future. The turtle settles into its evening routine, grazing peacefully in the seagrass as the sun sets. The world above and below the water is bathed in golden light. Another day is ending, another small chapter in a life measured in decades. And we have been privileged to witness it. Our journey with this particular turtle is approaching its conclusion, but the story of sea turtles continues forever. Let us return to the beach where we began, the beach where our turtle hatched so many years ago. The eggs that were laid earlier in our story are ready to hatch. 2 months have passed since they were buried. The sun has warmed them. The rain has moistened the sand around them. Inside each egg, a fully formed hatchling waits, instinct telling it that the time is near. Deep in the sand, the first hatchlings begin to emerge from their shells. They do not dig upward immediately. Instead, they wait as more and more of their siblings hatch. This is the cooperative emergence we witnessed before, a survival strategy that has served sea turtles well for millions of years. Only when most of the clutch has hatched do they begin to dig. The coordinated effort of dozens of hatchlings working together breaks through the plug of sand their mother carefully placed. The surface begins to shift and dimple. And then, as the sun sets and the beach cools, the sand erupts. Hatchlings pour out, dozens of tiny turtles emerging into the twilight. This timing is not accidental. Emerging at night gives the hatchlings a better chance of surviving the journey to the ocean. Fewer predators are active. The sand is cooler and easier to cross. The moon provides the light they need to find their way. These hatchlings know nothing of their mother, have never seen another turtle, but they know exactly what to do. The brightest part of their world is the horizon over the ocean. They turn toward it and begin to crawl. The cycle that has repeated for 100 million years begins again. Watch them closely. Each one is a miracle, a tiny package of instinct and potential. Most of them will not survive to adulthood. The odds are harsh, perhaps 1 in 1,000 or even 1 in 10,000. But that one, or those few, will carry the lineage forward. They will grow and learn and survive. Decades from now, they will return to this same beach to lay eggs of their own, and the cycle will continue. This is the eternal return, the great wheel of life that turns through the ages. Death and birth, struggle and triumph, loss and continuation. The hatchlings do not think about any of this. They think only of the water ahead, the sanctuary that calls to them. They scramble across the sand with fierce determination, their tiny hearts beating fast, their flippers digging and pushing with all their might. Somewhere out in the ocean, beyond the breaking waves, our adult turtle swims. It does not know that its offspring are hatching. It has no way to know, no parental instinct that connects it to these tiny beings. The connection between parent and child in sea turtles is genetic, not emotional. And yet, the connection is real. Every behavior these hatchlings display was passed down from their parents. The navigation, the feeding preferences, the nesting locations, all of this information is encoded in their DNA. The adult turtle shaped these hatchlings by choosing where to nest, by selecting a male with good genetics, by laying eggs at the right time of year. The parenting is over before the hatchlings are born, but its effects will last a lifetime. The hatchlings reach the water. Waves wash over them, tumbling them, lifting them, and they begin to swim with the same frantic determination their mother showed decades before. Out they go, into the vast unknown, into a life of challenge and wonder. Some will be taken by predators within the first hour. Others will survive for years in the lost years only to fall victim to disease or accident. But some will make it. Some will grow large and wise, will migrate across oceans and return to this beach. And the story will continue. This is the promise of life, the hope that persists even in the face of overwhelming odds. As long as there are beaches where turtles can nest and oceans where they can swim, the cycle will continue. The turtles will endure. Dawn approaches, the beach is quiet again. The tracks of the hatchlings are being erased by the tide, just as the tracks of their mother were erased months ago. Only the scattered shells of hatched eggs remain as evidence of what transpired here. By tomorrow, even those will be gone, buried, or washed away. The beach keeps no permanent record of the miracle that occurred, but the ocean remembers. In the genes of every hatchling that survived, in the instincts that will guide them for decades, in the inevitable pull that will draw them back to this place, the memory persists. This is memory beyond thought, memory written in the fundamental code of life itself. It is a memory that stretches back to the Mesozoic seas and forward into an unknowable future. And so our journey comes full circle, but it is not an ending. It is simply a pause, a moment to reflect on what we have witnessed. We have followed one life from hatching to adulthood, from the vulnerable scramble across the beach to the confident mastery of the ocean realm. We have seen feeding and resting, migrating and nesting, diving deep and exploring wide. We have observed ancient instincts and learned behaviors, survival against odds, and the quiet dignity of daily life. The sea turtle asks nothing of us except the space to exist, the freedom to swim in clean oceans, the security of beaches where eggs can hatch undisturbed. In return, it offers us a glimpse into deep time, a connection to an ancient past, and a reminder of our responsibility to the future. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May it bring you peace. Our time with the sea turtle has come to an end, but these ancient mariners continue their journeys through the world's oceans as they have for millions of years. The next time you see the ocean, remember that beneath its surface, turtles are swimming, feeding, resting, and living their lives with quiet grace. Remember that they need our protection, our respect, and our commitment to preserving the wild spaces they depend upon. What will you do to help? Even small actions matter. Every plastic bag not used, every beach cleaned, every voice raised in support of conservation makes a difference. The turtles cannot speak for themselves. We must speak for them. Thank you for spending this time in quiet contemplation of these remarkable beings. Until we meet again, may you find your own rhythm of peace